Dr. Eric Pierre. He's the Honorable Consul General in Haiti to Toronto, for Haiti to Toronto.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. I am truly inspired by these two presentations. Ms. Phillips has done a wonderful job, not only presenting the work she's doing, but in fact doing this kind of work. And what you're doing is truly commendable. It's a sign of deep commitment to human rights in Haiti. As well, Roger Anis, thank you very much for your presentation. I had an opportunity to meet you this week, and we had a very maybe short conversation, but it was very helpful and very inspiring to me to see firsthand the work you are committed to in Haiti in terms of informing the Canadian public about the country. And by the way, I am very glad to welcome all of you, because usually the public attention in the so-called first world to the third world is limited to disasters and cases of corruption and coups and blood and cadavers on the sidewalks. That's what they, it's like that primal taste for blood, and anything that is terrible, that stinks. I think that's what the public wants, and that's what they get. But you are here in a spirit of continuous support to the Haitian people, and I think this is very highly commendable, and I certainly appreciate it a lot. You will find that I am repeating a few of the reflections that have been made before. They say that minds communicate, and maybe at some level there is a certain community of ideal between us. So, and Haitian history and the Haitian reality is complex, but what we are all trying to do is perhaps find the most important points. And you will find that I am repeating some of the points. For example, I cannot help saying again that, and that is after what you said, that the earthquake is not a natural disaster. It is a human-made disaster, and we have to remember that. So the Holocaust we observed is due to the evil spirit of human beings, the ugly side of human nature. It is, excuse me. It is the end result, the culmination, the explosion of 500 years of treatment of human beings as lesser humans. And those efforts to deny people of their dignity, their right to aspire to a certain participation in the fruits of their labor. Those efforts were motivated by greed, pursuit of profit, as well as a mean-spirited vendetta against the first African nation that defeated the colonial system. The first African nation to successfully say no, no to slavery, no to human rights abuses, and the first African nation to force the world to listen. Don't forget, we are celebrating Black History Month. It's a time for us to try to get that introspection, to turn on ourselves and draw reasons to be proud and reasons to continue fighting. Haiti pas péri, Haiti is not going to perish. But my focus was really to talk about some, not so much about the present efforts or the present reality, but just give you an overview of the certain socio-economic aspects in the making of the disaster. What is at the foundation of the disaster? I am speaking to an audience I feel that is receptive, and I don't think most of you will be surprised to hear that Haiti is not a poor country. You'll not be surprised. We won't be surprised to hear that. Haiti has been impoverished. Haiti has been robbed. Haiti has been raped. Haiti has been depleted of its wealth over and over and over again. Remind you, it's not the whole country that is suffering. We do have a minority of people, of families, of clans who are doing fairly well. In fact, they are doing very well for themselves. The riches of Haiti were appropriated, transferred, privatized, at times in two ways, I would say. One way is with naked, visible violence and brutality. And on the other hand, sometimes it's with diplomacy, gestures of friendship, international assistance, persuasion, and corruption of leaders and corruption of the ruling class. Everything for $1, everything for $1 million, everything for more domination, more oppression, more dependence, more submission, more humiliation, more genuflection. Case in point, our leaders must follow instructions, not based on the interest of the majority of the citizens in the country. Otherwise, in the best case scenario, what happens? They will keep back the cash. The country will be starved from investments, unable to face its administrative obligations. In the worst case scenario, and you will know what I'm talking about if you've been observing what's happening in Haiti. You know there is a family that was holding power for 30 years. They toe the line. You don't toe the line. Revolts can be orchestrated. There is blood on the streets, cadavers on the sidewalks, and the international media are broadcasting to the whole world images of Haitians killing each other. One more coup d'etat. And there lies the origin of the weak institutions, the dysfunctional judicial system, which you spoke to the good length about, insecurity in the country, nervous investors, and perpetuation of a cycle of poverty. As the two previous speakers mentioned, agriculture is the foundation or one of the main generators of wealth in Haiti. And this has been throughout history. In fact, that's why Haiti was called La Perle des Antilles, the pearl of the Caribbean. It's because of agricultural wealth, sugar, coffee, and so on and so forth. And the wealth didn't enrich the Haitian Africans. The wealth went to build beautiful capitals, beautiful mansions, plantations, and import luxury items for the ruling class, European ruling class in Haiti. We have overcome historical devastation in our agricultural system, like the ones resulting from the War of Independence. If you know the history of Haiti, there had to be major devastation in the country, and yet fire. They had to, in some instances, destroy whole forest, cut down trees. That was part of the struggle. But yet the country came back, thanks to the resilience of Haitians. The country is facing serious structural problems. One of the problems is, as you mentioned, the problem of trade negotiations, dumping, and food aid. You mentioned those aspects, and of course the omnipotence of the NGOs. Back in, we started having NGOs in Haiti back in the 1950s. It was just a few. Now we have, that's what I heard, we have about 10,000. And the situation is totally out of control. Nobody is answering to the Haitian nation, in fact, or to the Haitian government. In fact, the dollars, it's a way for for the major powers to channel monies to maintain their domination on the country. Another structural problem is the long tenure system in the country that is marked by large concentration of land in the hand of just a few families. In fact, it's reported that about 40% of the land is divided in very small parcels between the rest of the population. But the larger plantations, holdings of over 250 acres, they are owned by maybe 1,000 families. Of course, in between, you have the type of people they call, at the local level, they call them les grands dons, the big shots. But they are little big shots. Those are the big shots who are supporting the whole machine, the whole repressive machine in the country. One example is the massacre of Jean Rabel in 1987, when 200 people, peasants, who were trying to protest against distribution of food aid during harvest time, who were struggling for more social justice in the country. They were slaughtered like cattle. And one of the gentlemen said that they just killed 1,000 communists. This gentleman was arrested in 2003. That means he walked the country for 16 years. And he had to be released. Again, a symbol of impunity, symbol of a weak judicial system. I did mention how agriculture is really the foundation of our wealth. Used to be that we used to send boats of agricultural products to Florida, to Turks and Caicos. That's the way it used to be. But I think you did go over the fact that the circumstances that led to the total destruction of our agricultural industry. There are lots of aspects I wanted to consider. I'm trying not to repeat what has been said before. But I think one important issue we should talk about is the issue of minimum wage in the country. Presently, the minimum wage is 31 cents an hour. There was a problem between the executive and the legislative in the country when the parliament tried to vote an increase of 61 cents to 61 cents of the minimum wage. The corporations that are utilizing slave labor in Haiti were infuriated, and they put tremendous pressure on the executive to reverse that decision. There are lots of aspects I could talk to you about, but it appears that we are running short on time. I could go over the latest disasters that preceded the earthquake, kind of set the stage for the major event, and give you an appreciation of how the country was going downhill, thanks to human evil spirit, as well as, unfortunately, the vagaries of nature, what nature was doing to the country, as well how nature was contributing to the situation in the country. I'm not here to demonize anybody, any country, but I do want to demonize greed. I do want to demonize reckless behavior in the pursuit of profit at the expense of human values, human decency, and the respect for the Haitian people. I invite you to reflect on this quote from Albert Einstein. A man who knows a few things about man-made devastations. The world is not dangerous because of the bad people that are in it, but the good people who see evil and do nothing. So I invite you to reflect on that.